Hey, how you doing? Another minute with the gorilla on the back. Pop knot. No, it's not one of these. It's more about one of these. Prop guy, which is me. I made a lure here as a prop. This is going to be fishing line, so we can see on the video. I'm still kind of an amateur at this. Anyway, tying a knot and bass snaps. Bass snaps are fine for lazy fish, panfish, and what have you. You actually need them. They go through so much. Not really a stupid fish, that's not fair. But what I'm saying is, there's several advantages to tying on. The difference between a good fisherman and a great fisherman is detail. Now, big old bass don't get to be a big old bass by being completely retarded. You notice that you always catch a lot of young fish, smaller fish, whenever you're fishing. You spend any time on the water. That's because they're inexperienced, yada yada. So you need every advantage you can get for the big fish. Now, the reason I named this piece Pop Knot is because I learned this knot from my grandfather. I mentioned earlier, taught me to fish. That's why I call it Pop Knot. There's a lot of fancy knots out there, and I'm sure you have your own favorites, but if you're starting, maybe you'll want to use this knot. Boy, you should see my little brother tie it. Man, he can do this baby shit. It's really neat. I'm going to do it a little slow so you can actually get it. And like I said, I know I tried to learn some other knots, but I always came back to this. Been doing it for so long. It's good, and there's other advantages I'll show you now. String your lure, you got to pull the tail up. And when you're pulling the tail up, you're inspecting the line with your fingers. Biggest organ in your body, your skin, touch. You feel the line, even the toughest braid gets nicks and cuts in it, and that's when you get broke off with a big old hog. And just instantly, when you feel it, you can just lengthen the line. So you drop the line, the weight of the lure. You fold over. And you make 5 folds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now take it, this line doesn't react like a fishing line. Okay, you have a circle. You make another loop with your hand. And hold that loop with your back finger. Pass through the bottom loop, up through the top loop. That's very simple. If you pull it tight, it's not going to cinch because of this wire. And it'll grab. It's going to grab, especially new line. A lot of the clippers, which you have to have clippers when you have this knot. A lot of the clippers, as you can see on my fishing gear, I don't have the hat here with me today, has a space on it. And that space is to stick in this line and pull your knot tight. Same thing, you inspect your line, check the tightness. Bad thing of this knot, you always have a tail you got to clip. You want to clip your tail as close to the knot as you can, and that's when you do your final test to make sure it doesn't come undone. The only time this knot comes undone is if you're using, say, some of the fancier synthetic lines like Stealth, which I use, and when it's new, it's slippery. That's why you want to always give it a really good, put the meat on it test, especially if you're going after huge bass. These lures in today are built, they're designed to run without a swivel on them. Now, there's a time for swivels, like I said, or when you're going after toothed fish, like my brother up in Canada. He's got all this pipe. That's time for leaders, completely different story. It's down further on the attack point. Those have swivels on them, go for it. We're talking about big bass. That's my tip. How you tie to the line you pick is your choice. I'll do a section about line later because it's very, very important. And it can go from outrageously expensive to dirt cheap. And it really does make a difference to the kind of fishing you're doing. And it's all about taste. What's your taste in line? How you like it to feel? What you like to work your lures with? The color of the water you're using. So it's not just a choice you throw out there. Like I said, detail is a lot. You got big old clunky line with stuff all over it. The fish are going to see that, and something's wrong with that. And big old honking female, something's wrong with it. She'll take the time to go over her instincts and not trigger the strike. Because that's what you're doing. The fish doesn't have a big enough brain to sit there and go, oh, I'm hungry. You want to trigger the strike instinct of these animals. And you do that by, showing your bait properly, your presentation, from where they're at, following the time of the year and how they're acting when they're feeding. And you can trigger one when they're not feeding. Get in front of them right. That's the secret of picking the bait. That's a whole other section. We'll do it later. Like I said, I call this pop knots for my grandpa who taught me fishing. God rest him, Mark Thompson. You guys do me a favor and check out my brother's blog at crowfishing.blogspot. He really knows what he's talking about. If you want to go up to Canada and have a good time, he's the guy to see. We also got our real good friend Jeff Ketchum and Phoebe Ketchum over at Lake Sam Rayburn. Man, they got a beautiful place. You need to go there and give them a call. I have a link to all their sites on my blog here, so be sure to check it out. Give them a chance. But the main thing, like I said, the outdoors in your backyard. Get up, get out, and go fish.